Okay, so we are here in the final document, which is the status tracker. So after you have done your worksheet or mind map, this is where you will go to really drill down and put in information that is detailed, like the actual activities that you're going to be doing week to week to support your high level tactics that you've already talked about. And of course, all of these things roll up into the goal that you're working on for yourself. Okay, so here's the spreadsheet. I just want to go over the layout a little bit. Okay, so if you see here in the upper left-hand corner, it sets the time frame. This is actually something you're going to need to change yourself manually each quarter, but it's set up right here for January 5th through March 23rd of 2025. Okay. And then if you look below, there is a section for you to identify the goal. And so in here, I mean, this isn't exactly the goal that we shared in the other video about wanting to land a job offer by the end of the 12-week period. But in this case, you know, it's very close. It's landing a new full-time position at a company. Okay. So the idea here is you'll want to populate this as well. And, you know, as you're planning out this tracker, you want to carry over your tactics so that they're here, right? And we have it labeled down into 6. This is really just a very simple spreadsheet for you to plan, okay? So as you can see, just building off of the example in the other video, we're going to improve the resume and LinkedIn profile to an optimal level. That was my client's first action or tactic that she was talking about. Another area, if you remember, was looking at her network of connections. You know, she wanted to utilize that network of connections so that she could see and understand who can help her and really just, you know, do things that focused on the networking piece of the job search. So we'll start with this in our example, okay? So to the right here in column C and down the line, this is basically going to be a week-to-week layout of your actions that you're doing, you're tracking. So you can see if you look up here, it talks about the weeks, it identifies the weeks, you know, week 1, week 2, the date of the week, and basically, you know, it goes all the way down to 12. Sorry, here, you can see this. But it also gives you the opportunity in entering more specific detail about what you are doing in terms of activities to get to that goal. So how this would work is, let's just go back to this idea of the tactic, right? Improving resume and LinkedIn profile to an optimal level. Any pre-planning you want to do before you actually jump in, you can document this in week 0. I would say here as an example, though it's not necessarily an action she's going to be like working on, it's really a planning move, is, you know, connecting with Mary for a review of resume and LinkedIn. Okay, so that's one of the activities. Actually, you know, she should also plan or secure, or actually we could just say book a meeting with Mary to review resume and LinkedIn. Have those 2 items on the calendar, or at least achieve it for this planning week, okay, right before the quarter. If there were more things that this person needed to do, you know, in that supports this tactic of improving the resume in LinkedIn, she could just add a row to the spreadsheet, right? So insert a row above or below, whatever you want to do. You could do that, right? And then just do and add whatever you wanted to here. But so on down the line, you want to, line it up basically with the tactic that you've established, and then really think about the specific detail for the week that you're going to be working on. So if we look at network, that item listed as a tactic, utilize a network of connections to understand who can help. I know that my client had written log on to LinkedIn and review contact list. The contact list is, or connections actually. Review connections. She wasn't really familiar who was in her LinkedIn. Also, make a list of people she worked with, former people or former co-workers, workers and managers who might be helpful, good to check in. Okay, so hopefully you get the idea of what you're supposed to do here. So you want to do it again for each tactic that you've established, the details that you're going to work on for that week. I carve out time on Sunday to do this each time about what I want to do and achieve in the week. And then, put it down here because I revisit this, sometimes daily, but several times a week just to see how things are going. And remembering like, okay, what else do I need to do? You can also write some comments on your progress as you're, going through these items during the week that might be helpful for you. Sometimes I don't even put comments until I'm getting ready for the next week and planning those activities that align with my tactics. There have been many times, to be honest, where say I've identified a planning activity and I didn't quite get to where I wanted to do it for that week, but that's okay. I just move it to the next week. So if this was it, let's say, she didn't get a hold of me or something, we didn't book something, she could put it to the next week. Just say, Mary was out of town, no response, something like that, whatever. And then move it to the next week here. Every week, it's kind of a pattern. Right? When it's time to set your activities for the next week, it's good to determine, okay, am I entering new activities or did I not get as far as I'd like to with the previous week activities? So as you progress through each of the weeks in the quarter, you can see, what has been done and the progress just for your own kind of informal tracking. So after each 4-week period, I go back and say, oh, okay, so how did I do towards this tactic? Did I get these activities done? Are there any other kinds of learnings that I need to think about? I often use this tracker with my clients if they've chosen to do goal setting and really just evaluating. So how's it going so far on an incremental basis, and we evaluate like, oh, maybe we should start adding more activities, or actually this is an activity that's going to require more focus, more than the week or two that you put it down on the list to work on. And it's just a good and easy way to flip back and forth to see what you've done and what you might need to modify going forward. So this is a quick rundown of the tracker. If you have any questions, let me know. Always pretty open to your questions, or if there's a better way that you could organize it, I'm all ears. This is just something that I've adopted, and has worked well for me.